Welcome, everyone, to the Commentary Podcast. I am your host, Pat Brennan. Today on the podcast, we are going to be watching Inside Llewyn Davis. It was released in 2013, and it is written and directed by Joel and Ethan Coen. The film stars Oscar Isaac, Carey Mulligan, John Goodman, Garrett Hedlund, F. Murray Abraham, Justin Timberlake, and Adam Driver. Set in 1961, the film follows 1 week in the life of Llewyn Davis, a folk singer struggling to achieve musical success while keeping his life in order. Joining me for this rewatch of Inside Llewyn Davis is Stephen Tronicek. I will be dropping all of his info in the episode description, so please give him a follow there. He's great. I say we get things started. We are going to be pressing play, and I hope you do as well, on Inside Llewyn Davis in 3, 2, and 1. CBS Films. This is the only movie they made.
Yeah, I never saw it again, really.
This is my second Coen
that you're doing on the podcast. What was the first
I've already
one?
done No Country for Old Men, which is my favorite Coen. But this, honestly, every time I watch this, actually might be like my second favorite Coen Brothers movie.
Well, I sent you my full list or so of my favorites, and this is definitely my favorite. I think it's just a perfect encapsulation of like what it is to try to be an artist at this period of time, or any period of time. It's just kind of like doing your best and not necessarily getting there, but it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I noticed that I read that this and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou are essentially like loosely based off of the Odyssey in a way. And the Coens have never read it, and they're like, oh, I didn't know that it is basically like the Odyssey. Didn't know. Still haven't read it. Like they told them that after Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, and then they're like, oh, maybe we should read the Odyssey. And then they made this, and they're like, yeah, I still haven't read the Odyssey.
Well, I mean, their kind of approach to storytelling does kind of, it does lean it into like kind of traditional circular storytelling and formalism that way. So it does kind of make sense they'd be influenced by kind of a more classical text like that. I do love Isaac's performance of the song at the beginning here, and how it kind of is cutting to everybody else and letting us kind of sink into that area. Something that does throw me off a little bit is the first shot of the movie, though, because they're so locked down camera-wise. They're very into like that kind of put on a tripod, and it opens up on that really kind of intense shaky cam on the mic, and it's sort of interesting for them, at least.
It's curious what they do there too. Like it has the close up of the mic, and then he comes in, and then it slowly shows the audience until as the song keeps going, you pull back essentially from, and now you're in the crowd.
Right.
It's curious what they do. Because Deakins was supposed to shoot this, but he was shooting Skyfall at the time.
Oh, okay. Well, I will say it's definitely worth going on a bit of a tangent about Bruno Delbonnel, who shot this movie, and his work with the Coen brothers. Because like Deakins is very naturalistic, kind of let the shadows do what they do. But Delbonnel is like do like a soft light source right above the guy's face and just shine that down on him. And it's sort of interesting to watch how their collaboration has evolved, because like in this, I love how the soft light source really brings out the period of time and brings out the kind of the poverty of stuff. But it maybe doesn't fit as well in like something like Buster Scruggs, wherever it's like they're doing like the naturalism Western stuff, like they're trying to do True Grit or so.
It's definitely a different look. You can tell it's a different look too.
That softness on the manager's face or so, like that, the skin tones are just gone. They don't. They do not exist.
Yeah, I guess the people that were around the folk scene at the time that like saw this movie, they're like, "Damn, they made it seem really depressing. It wasn't that depressing." Like, because he's like loosely based off of. I actually have a couple of the dude's records. His name was Dave Von Ronk.
Right,
He's loosely
right.
based off of it. Because the cover of Inside Llewyn Davis, like the album, is the same Dave Von
Except it's
Ronk.
missing the cat.
The
The
cat,
cat
yep,
isn't in it.
the cat is
Yep.
missing. Yeah. And I think that was because Oscar Isaac is like allergic to cats, I think.
Oh
So
man.
like originally when they were shooting that, like they didn't have the cat. And then I think they went back and looked like, oh, we forgot the cat. Whatever. Like, it's good.
It must have been difficult to have the other little kitty cat sitting around.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Well, I think because
Oh,
also when they had this script, I think some people were reading it and they're like, "There's no plot to this movie," and I think they were like, "We need to like put a plot in." So they just
right,
added the cat. The cat is the
right,
plot
right.
essentially.
I think it was Adam Heyman in the book, the Coens, the book that ties it all together, that he was talking about specifically that interview where they're like, yeah, we had no plot, so we put in the cat. But
Hmm.
there's this shot of the cat. That's where at least I am right now. The shot of this cat coming down the
Hmm.
hallway, and it's interesting to watch their shots kind of mimic back through their work because there's a shot of a dog just like that in Blood Simple.
Hmm.
That's really interesting. Uh, but you're also going to get that like quintessential Llewyn has the cat, Llewyn is the
Yeah.
cat thing going
Yeah.
on.
Because I remember when I first watched this with my friend, because I saw this in theaters actually by myself. I was in like Nashville for some reason, and I was like had downtime, and I saw that it was playing at some like random theater, and I was like, I want to go watch that. I was the only one watching it in the theater.
Mhm.
Like, yeah. But I like loved it, and then like halfway through, I was like, oh, this movie's about a cat. Like this is like literally about a cat.
It's about
And then
him
like
strapping by. He's doing his
yeah, and
best here.
my friend was like, "Why was the cat in that movie?" Like when I showed it to him, he's like, "Why is there a cat in that movie? I don't understand. What's the cat?" I was like, "The cat's him." He's like, "I don't get it." Like, it's like, but as we go
I
along,
mean,
we'll explain what the cat is. We'll explain what the cat, because exactly the line, Llewyn is the cat. No, Llewyn
Llewyn
has the
has
cat.
the
Like, no,
cat.
he
Llewyn is
is
the
the
cat. No.
cat.
So I mentioned in a little bit of a message the kind of cyclical nature of the Coen brothers jokes. The like if we had wings that we're kind
Hmm.
of seeing here, and the how that kind of is a visual setup. Just the cleverness of everything that they do, which is kind of facetious for me to say because if you listen to the Krumholtz interview, he talks about how they're not impressed with themselves at all. They think they're idiots.
Hmm.
But you get like the brilliant thing of if we both had wings, and then you get the end at the payoff with the you should go join your partner way later in the movie.
Yeah.
If we were both angels. Real funny, man. But it does bring up like how the surface level everything is funny. Like that door closing and the cat running out is hilarious. But
Hmm.
everything is suffused with such a deep grief. Everybody misses his friend.
I know
Uh,
their humor is like so like it's hard to explain their humor.
well, I will say because the Coen brothers did kind of sort of get me into making films at a period of time. The humor that is in a
Hmm.
lot of the work that I make is definitely that sort of man. This is depressing. I just find it so funny.
Yeah, I remember when they won the Oscar. They won the Oscar for screenplay for Country, I think.
Mhm.
Um, and then when they won for directing, they went up to the stage and they're like, "Oh, well, we already said everything before, so bye." Like,
Here we go. Llewyn is the cat.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
man
And they also,
from time.
the Coens told the cinematographer, because it's the color palette is essentially after Bob Dylan's Highway 61 revisited.
Right, right.
Um, no, the Freewheel and Bob Dylan, not the Highway
Mm-hmm.
61. Freewheel and Bob Dylan, like that, that look, and like even his like outfit here kind of looks like that with he's holding the guitar case and everything, which is
Absolutely.
funny. Which is funny because they're filming that Bob Dylan movie right now, and I saw
There's
the
a
image. They
shot.
they recreated that image of the album cover, but yeah, they told the cinematographer like we want it to look like this slushy New York. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be cold.
There's all of these reaction shots from the cat. I think are the greatest thing in the world. That we like to place ourselves
Mm-hmm.
within the cat and just kind of, man. I mean, it's like impossible not to project a little bit upon the animals that you're watching or so.
Mm.
And it's such a lovely thing. Looking at the production design as well, though, here, I think it's kind of a subtle production design job. It's not like something where they're like trying to shove anything in your face or so, but it's really, really beautiful how
Mm-hmm.
how the walls look and just all of the little details and how gives so much texture to the world.
Mm-hmm. And I think like
He
muting all of the colors too like helps a lot because you're like, ah,
he
this movie
raised the
is
super,
cold.
but yeah, the muted stuff. Oh man. You're not going to get one what is it, complete black level in this movie. It's all just
Mm-hmm.
those
I
mill
think
details.
the cat's like the only like the brightest thing of the movie, honestly. Like that color.
Overwhelming teal. um, I love this guy right here, the kind of the manager or
He's like yeah, his
so.
manager, or it's like his accountant, I guess, or his manager. Yeah, like he's probably both, honestly. Like he's both his accountant and manager.
Something for some reason, something that I always look at is whatever's on the walls in this manager's office. Because
Hmm.
there's like a bunch of like drawings of caricatures of the manager himself on the walls, which is really funny to me. Going back
He's
to
probably
like
like yeah.
the repetition of Coen Brothers language, the kind of the banter between the manager and his secretary. The you got it? What? I got it. What are you doing? I got it. Oh, I got it. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
They're so good at like keeping the same tone of
Mm-hmm.
dialogue in scenes.
Absolutely.
They're like the master of the shot reverse shot. Like to
There's
me, if you want to
definitely
study that, just watch that. Watch all their movies.
what was it, the every frame of painting video that went around where they're shooting with that 23 millimeter lens
Yeah.
and they place it right in the middle of the conversation. So you're getting the look. Something that you're seeing on Oscar Isaac right now, though, too, is in the Krumholtz interview on the Mark Maron show or whatever, he was talking about how the Coens, I think they were telling him that they cast for sad eyes is what they're
Mm.
casting for. That's where they're getting like everybody says casting for faces and they're casting for sad eyes. Get the
Yeah.
fuck out.
I mean, he just looks like I mean the line he says later where he's like I'm so fucking tired
I'm
and
so
I don't think
tired.
it's like
Yeah.
sleep. It's like I think it's more than that. It's like you can just look at this guy like this dude's more than tired. Like
Well, the thing is, honestly, I that's just reality, man. At least to me, I'm so tired, and I don't think
yeah.
it's sleep.
Yeah. I don't think it's sleep. I think it's something else. I think it's more
The
than that,
design
yeah.
of those New York hallways where it's so tight, or so like,
Mm.
and this is actually my favorite Carrie Mulligan has ever been in a movie. She's so funny in this.
Because I don't know if you know that because Marcus Mumford obviously does the music too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they were like pen pals. I think they went to like the same camp
Right,
when they
right.
were like really young, and then they like stayed pen pals, and I guess they like lost touch. And then I was just listening to an interview. I think she was on the Smart List podcast, and
Mm-hmm.
she said that they kind of reconnected like during this movie.
Oh,
Um,
excellent, excellent. And then they got married,
um,
right?
Now they're married. Yeah, I guess they've been married for like 10 years now, with a couple kids. Like
Mm-hmm.
the power of film and movies.
I know, it brings people together. I think something the Coens are always great with is like creating a joke out of a visual punchline or so. Like whether that be
Hmm.
Jackie Treehorn and having to sketch the guy with the giant dick and inside and the Big Lebowski, but the ending of this scene is one of my very favorites, where she just like takes the pad, she like writes it down, gives it to him, and the beat of what the fuck,
Yeah.
so funny.
Fuck.
Back to casting for faces. This guy
Hmm.
is just beautiful here.
And it looks like he's about to like burst into like tears. Again, your sad casting. Looks like
It's
he's
almost
so
like his
funny when
cheeks
the
are drooping down.
yeah, in the next scene, or like when he wakes up and he's just like eating cereal like above
Right.
it. He's just like
Oh,
watching
do
it.
they like turn you on or whatever? Do they like wind you up when
Yeah.
you're eating? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
so
he like
funny.
drinks the milk. He drinks the milk like this. He just cuts back to Llewyn. He just sits there like he's just staring at him eating cereal.
I think it is always worth bringing up that Justin Timberlake is good in basically everything he's in. Like he's great in Social Network. This
Hmm.
is like very understated stuff from him, and it's kind of my favorite of his performances.
This was like the
Um,
period when he was kind of in a good amount of movies, because he's not even in really movies that much anymore. Because he was like an alpha dog, and then he was in Social Network.
Southland Tales.
This Southland Tales, is it In Time? Like
Oh
he was in
gosh, yeah, In
that
Time. Yeah,
when they tried to make him a lead. Deacons actually shot that movie In Time.
you know, I think there's something so like deeply funny about him asking his buddy, who he's knocked up his buddy's wife, and he's asking him for money.
Yeah,
Just that type of
for
Coen
money
brothers
for the yeah for money for his wife's like
for his
yeah
wife.
it's
Um, it's just that type of like Coen brothers, like sadness, but also that cyclicalness of like how funny it is whenever you begin to try to describe it, where it's like, what you like asked them to do this, to this, you know, man.
hmm
That being said, I think it's worth talking about the musical performances, all of them in this movie, and just how
hmm
suffused, again, how all these folk songs really highlight that theme of like how lost Llewyn is and how deeply like depressed Llewyn is with his life or so, but
hmm
also this 500 mile song tying into the later journey that Llewyn takes and what that can. I think, if anything, something that I love most about great screenplays is the way that like the different symbols and motifs layer upon each other to the point that the story world just becomes indestructible. You can't like
hmm
take it apart because everything supports itself. And so 500 miles supports the fact that Llewyn is going to go on his journey and feel that sadness going on his
hmm
journey. And same thing with like the song that Katie just sang, or no, Katie is Adam Driver's character, the soldier just sang, where he's talking about how it was the last thing on my mind that I was going to like treat you right. And that's exactly
hmm
what's going on with Carrie Mulligan. And it's just that they cover their bases immaculately, the Coen brothers. Everything contributes to everything.
hmm
Just a beautiful thing right there. And it's kind of that formal like rigor that I think makes the films hold together so well. And admittedly, what I was missing a little bit in something like Drive Away Dolls, where the formal rigor isn't quite there. But that being said, you know, Drive Away Dolls is trying to do much more of a John Waters thing than they've ever attempted. So it's kind of
hmm
a different thing. Um,
I think Drive Away Dolls, you can like, and then looking at the tragedy of Macbeth,
right, right.
you can tell who's the director of the pair and who's the writer of the pair.
I
I
try
think.
not to like
Like I
I
could
try not to
tell. I mean, like,
assign things.
yeah, I like Drive Away Dolls, but I could tell that um I guess Joel's the better. I would say he's probably the guy that keeps the directing together,
Right, right,
while Ethan's basically doing. He's like the screenplay fully. Like he's that guy.
right. Something I thought about, well, how I approach Macbeth is I honestly think it's like a perfect object. I love that movie. But I do
Mm-hmm.
agree with you where it's like you can tell the formal rigor went into Macbeth, where it's like this perfect like lineup shot is going to go into this perfect lineup shot, which speaking of which, that pan up to the guy eating
Mm-hmm.
and just
I
the
love how
perfect timing of it.
he just watches him eat cereal.
Props to the sound designer who's doing all the spoon and the bowl stuff
and
too.
I always tell people like probably about 90% of the sounds you're hearing is all like Foley artists. Like they're
Oh yeah.
like getting that like something like obviously you're gonna have some sounds, but like him this slurping, like it's probably a Foley artist slurping. Like, like I love this slurping and he's just staring at him. Like
It's like, well, that was very good.
yeah. But it's like these characters are great. Like you could clearly tell that this guy like respects everything. So, well, that was very good, like a very good meal of like Wheaties, like that cost him. Like Llewyn's like laying on the floor, mooching off of these people, and
Right,
this guy's
right.
like being very
Do
nice,
they,
putting the bowl down calmly. Like,
the way the guy like misses the joke where he's like, "Do they plug
yeah,
yourself? Do they plug yourself in somewhere?" And he's just like,
yeah. That's probably like a Manchurian candidate joke or something. Like,
"Well, I think it's just the recognition of the cruelty." Because like, I think something that is interesting with Llewyn as a character is that Llewyn is cruel
mm-hmm,
oftentimes, but you do sort of understand why, like, whether it's the financial situation or the artistic situation, the detritus is sort of set in.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that
I also
he says Private Presley in this scene where he's talking about did they meet Elvis? Everyone
oh
asks
yeah.
that.
Oh, you mean Private Presley? Yeah, that's what you mean.
Just
Private Presley.
shove the
That's funny.
knife inside Elvis's ribs a little bit. Oh, Private Presley. Oh, he's that.
They also said
Oh,
the Oh Brother Where Art Thou, like the music from this film is like the descendant of Oh Brother Where Art Thou. Like the
oh
music
yeah.
that's in Oh Brother Where Art Thou led to this type of music.
I love that shot of the cat running downstairs.
Yeah.
This is little but kind of wobbly. But yes, yeah, definitely like Oh Brother Where Art Thou kind of coming being so folk based, and then T Bone Burnett doing music
Hmm.
supervision for both of these
Yeah.
films. Um, it
It's
is
like I wonder
really like
if they were implying like they're in the same universe. It was just like 100 years before, or like whatever, 50 years before.
I feel like kind of the like the full throated like somberness of guitar and a lot of the folk songs they're using really blends in well with the sort of music they would have Carter Burwell writing for their films, which is going to be
Hmm.
like lots of strings, lots of like really deep kind of sad. I mean, it's all sad music, which is part of the joke in the Coen Brothers movies. But I'm sorry, out or fuck you. This is probably my favorite scene where she's just yelling at him right here. He's so good in this.
You don't want it either way, to be clear.
To be clear, asshole, you fucking asshole, I want very much to have it if it's Jim's. That's what I want. But since I don't know, you not only fuck things up by fucking me and maybe making me pregnant, but even if it's not yours, I can't know that. So I have to get rid of it. Perfectly fine.
A perfectly fine baby.
Yeah.
My King Midas' idiot brother.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, they shot this on 35 millimeter, I believe.
Right, right. But I'm thinking, if I remember correctly, it is a sort of it is a stock that Devanel usually shoots on that gives that such that kind of like It almost looks like there's like halation around the faces.
Yeah.
Where they're like
it's like a melodramatic like gloss to it in a way.
right.
Which is funny because like you put that like melodramatic gloss over this depressing story, like especially friggin' Llewyn.
Wrap it in electrical tape. It takes two to tango.
Yeah.
Again, if we're talking about like the rhythm and patter of the dialogue, like the amount of like how they ask Carey Mulligan to like hit the shit, like the kind of really specific or fuck you, where it's like it gives you those specific like beats of the conversation. I love that line reading.
And then you have them kind of like they're like blocking too, like they're not even like essentially like he turned back to her there, but they weren't even talking to her, like they weren't even talking to each other, they were just looking the other way like while they were talking.
Right. And how I miss Mike is so significant, and that it completely changes, it diffuses everything. What you feel bad about? I told myself before I was watching we were gonna start this, I can't just like repeat the lines over and over again. But it's like impossible.
Hey, it's fun.
It's so funny that's what you feel bad about. That also tells you so much about him, where he's like he clearly does like feel bad about losing the Corbons, who are Mike's parents. I think they're Mike's parents, right? And clearly how he just doesn't want to hurt them, but he doesn't necessarily care about.
Because he could easily say like, "Oh, the cat was still in there." Like I don't know what. Cat was there when I left. Like he could easily play it off. Well, but yeah, he's like not. He's not that.
And tell them that they had the cat.
Yeah,
so
I have the cat. Yeah.
I love this actress playing his sister. This part sort of reminds me with of A Serious Man, kind of the kind of bureaucracy and pandering of like the patter of like trying to deal with the bureaucracy of people dying and shifting around you. It's not beyond the Coen brothers to make a joke about Siemens papers too. I think that's fine.
And like obviously like how they're shooting Llewyn in like majority of these scenes, he's just shot by himself the whole time.
Right. Always by himself.
He's not even always by himself.
It's always like a high angle shot of him. Even in like these medium shots, it's always like everybody's looking down at him.
Yeah.
Like, dumbass.
Yeah. Basically saying like, look at our lives. We figured out our lives. Why haven't you figured out your life yet? Like,
you want me back for rehearsal? No, this always reminded me of him like taking the food. Always reminded me of Giamatti stealing his mom's money in Sideways or something.
Well, this is the one place he can take the food because his sister's not going to say anything.
You're not supposed to let you practice shit out.
Oh man, that deep vanity, where it's like the deep vanity and also the circumstance that at every single moment he just makes the wrong decision.
Yeah,
he could have known that he was making the wrong decision, but
because at that time, like the practice stuff you don't put out. Like now, like Record Store Days, they have like they release all the demos from those early recordings. Like now, those are like collector's items. Like knowing him, he's like, oh, here's the demos of those albums we did. But if I release them, I could probably make a shit ton of money. But you're not supposed to release those things.
I doubt if it's urgent.
I love how he gets good news and the train's coming by as he's getting good news. Yeah.
It's always like, okay, you
That's
get
their
told the best
comedy.
news of your life, and then you step right in a puddle that just bumps your
Yeah.
shoes. So, which, I mean, admittedly, like it's hard to deny like that. I mean, in my opinion, I feel like often life does feel like you get like great news or you get like a great stuff, and then there's always like stuff lingering behind you that's like waiting to sneak up and like cause something to go wrong.
Hmm.
But and I always appreciate their work because it always makes you feel better about things where it's like, you know what, maybe this is just the way it is. Maybe maybe I can just chuckle at this stuff.
Hmm.
Oh man, Driver is so good in this little bit right here. And the Coen brothers clearly know how to use like his voice and physicality with the oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they tried to submit this for the Oscar for Best Original Song, but I guess technically it pulls from two other songs, and it's technically like three songs in one that it wasn't
Oh man.
eligible. It's like, okay, with Diane Warren she breathes and she gets a song in there. Like,
I mean,
yeah,
she is Diane Warren, man. She is
it's
Diane
true.
Warren. We gotta respect Diane Warren.
It's crazy how many Oscar noms she has. I don't think she's ever gonna win though.
Yeah,
Should got on
it's
that
just
Barbie
for the
soundtrack,
bit.
Diane. Yeah. At this
It's
point, it's
just
just
for
like
a bit. Like, don't
yeah,
let her win. It'll
yeah.
be fine.
So I mean, she'll get like an honorary Oscar for like her musical contributions to cinema, but
But who wrote this? I did.
yeah,
Like, I love Timberlake's reaction there. You just seeing his cheeks fall down, where it's just like, what?
yeah. It's such a ridiculous song.
Very catchy, though.
Oh yeah, and I have the vinyl of this soundtrack, and it's great. There's all these songs because I don't even think this is like available to like on like Apple or Spotify. There's only a couple songs that are
Mhm.
available. I don't think this is
I
one of
mean,
them.
yeah, it is weird. That is weird. I wish more of the soundtrack was available because, like, I mean, I do listen consistently to like the Fare Thee Well song or so, but
Hmm.
I do love how like this little bit right here. It's a bit, but it also is, of course, highlighting like the kind of the anxieties of the 60s of, oh man, we're
Yeah.
like going to space. There's like weird Cold War stuff happening.
Well, it goes back to like the previous scene too, where he's talking to his sister. Like, it basically is implying like he only like I only make like sophisticated like good music, and then he finally gets a gig, and the gig is this song. Like, it's just so ridiculous. Like,
But in that typical Coen Brothers way, it's like it's a ridiculous song, but it also does contribute to like the tapestry of what they're like saying and what they're doing.
Mhm.
Um, I love that. Oh no, reaction like this single tracker. Which, on that note, it is actually worth talking about how like their editing around the scene is really really nice and interesting. Kind of the beats of what they how they choose to show certain people. It's also worth kind of going back to how Roderick James, that whole thing, how they just made
Mhm.
up a dude to edit their movies because they edit their movies.
Because they just make it themselves. Yeah.
Oh, I love this where he like denies the money, the back end money, which would have meant done so much money for
Yeah.
him just to take the $200 up front.
Because he needs it now. Yeah.
You never would have known, man. He never would have known.
Man, I need the money now.
Yeah. Like, you get the back end, like the song will then chart. You get the back end, you're gonna keep getting like that money like every week.
Right, right.
Again, look, he's sitting
Oh,
down. The
this
guy
is
standing up. The guy standing up above him, telling him
Yeah, nice place.
it's a dump. That's
got
cool.
a
You got a
couch.
couch? Yeah, it's a dump. Perfect. You got a couch. Yeah. I mean, his clothing is still the same. He hasn't changed his clothes at all.
Right. The sunny homelessness. He likes people. Fewer and fewer.
He likes people. Fewer and fewer. Yeah, that's just great writing. He likes people. Fewer and fewer.
He didn't.
He didn't forget to pick up.
Man, it's just kicking him constantly, and it is funny because he's an idiot.
Mm-hmm. I mean, essentially, it's like this Llewyn is what, like 95% of people. Like,
right.
Like his friends are all recording, like have all these record deals, and he's just scraping by. Like he doesn't live the dream that they are,
Right.
even though he's doing the same exact thing that they are.
Just as a quick mention, there were the drawings on the wall where the guy has like the pipe in his mouth.
Oh
right
yeah, it's just him. Oh, it's just him.
I love those guys. They're so solipsistic. They're like the drawings are on the wall.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. It's interesting because like it does bring up the question of, is Llewyn a good folk singer? Like, or is he just like kind of which I think he is. He's just kind of an idiot and doesn't know how to like deal with it. This is honestly probably my probably my favorite visual gag in the movie, though. Actually, whenever what he's about to do with this box over here. Just brings back cyclical nature stuff, more or less, and how characters become mirrors of themselves and stuff in the Coen Brothers movie, which is again kind of going back to how all those symbols and motifs just layer on top of each other in a way that becomes so airtight you can't question it. But yeah, he like shoves the box down there, and
yeah,
Al Cody is Llewyn Davis, man. It's the same person.
Yep.
5 and 20 questions.
There you go. Yeah. Exactly. Like again, Llewyn is at like 95% of people.
No.
Well, can I have my stuff?
I'll bring it down.
I do love looking at the interiors in this movie, though. Just beautiful interiors. Like those like plates on the pillar above the table.
Oh yeah, this is like an antique. It's like an antique like coffee shop or
It's just it's so beautiful.
I'll see when the guy can do it then.
The guy? I hope it's
the guy.
Yeah, he's a doctor.
Don't worry.
With you, I worry.
Well, you shouldn't.
Yes, I should.
All of these like little heads watching them throughout their conversation, trying to figure this out.
Do you think about the future at all?
What do you mean, flying cars?
You mean like flying cars?
Yeah.
It's interesting too, like the setup too. Like all of her questions she's asking, she's the direct, like it's shot by herself. Whenever she's asking the question, and the majority of his answers, she's both in the shot with him because it's like he's not taking it seriously, but she's being very, very direct. Like, I don't like you. Like, essentially, I don't like you. But he's like, come on, you love me. Like, come on. But yeah, it's like every single question that she says to him, like the reverse shot to him is like she's in the shot with him, but he's never in the shot with her. Yeah,
drawing her in.
Yeah.
So.
But he's never, whenever he's speaking, like it's never by himself until he gets like serious right there. And then, because he sees the cat, so he's like, okay.
Keep an eye on my shit. Run.
Yeah, oh shit, that's the cat.
But it is kind of actually, like, speaking of like formal control, I always think about these like steady cam shots you're getting and these dolly shots and how perfectly they move with him and kind of like really in tandem with him in a way that feels really, I don't know, it makes you feel really part of his experience. I love cats so much. They're just so great. The way the cat just like reaches towards the plate.
Oh, good kitty, Jesus,
Jesus, thank
thank God.
God.
You were calling me careerist, and I was calling you loser.
Oh yeah.
Well, those new categories. No, in my experience, the world's divided into two kinds of people: those who divide the world into two kinds of people.
But it's good like you separate her from him because it's like she just sees him as such like a scum of a person, like so low. Like how you separate her. Basically, she's just in her mind, she's so much better than Llewyn. Like,
I don't know about that though. That actually brings up kind of an interesting conversation where it's like, I think the movie, as much as it kicks the shit out of Llewyn, the same way as she does, I think the movie does have like a level of like deep empathy for him in that, in which hides mainly in like how every character relates to the death of Mike, which is that like every character is like carrying around this death in some way. And that sort of informs how everybody acts with each other. Like she's intangibly like drawn to him because there is something that was good there at one point, but she's just so pissed at him for being a dumb person. It would have to be on a Saturday. I could do it this Saturday. Just the way that dialogue really. No charge.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I quote this to people way too much. The last time. What are you working pro bono now?
Yeah, what are you working pro bono?
Why is it no charge this time? Why? Well, you know. Well, no, I don't know, man. You're working pro bono.
Yeah, that's good.
What the hell?
Like, cause like, as much as like, I don't know, I don't ever feel like I'm in a position where I kind of hate or like despise Llewyn for some reason, where it's stuff like this where
oh yeah, no,
you see his reaction.
I don't think the audience isn't supposed to. It's the people in the movie despise him for like, and he's just, if you really think about it, like he's an idiot, but he's just, it's not like he's doing things dumb. Like he's just like wrong and not dumb, like
he
wrong.
Is dumb. I mean,
like, yeah, it's like he's doing things wrong, like, but he's just, people just like hate him in the movie, like for no like
it's like shot. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you're good.
And it's mainly that reaction shot, how he brings his hand to his face or so, where it's like you see like the genuine sadness. He has like genuine remorse for like the issues that have happened, but can't keep doing, can't stop doing the wrong thing. This guy who just keeps watching. Like, how dare you bring a cat on the subway?
Yeah, but it's like that. It's like they're judging him. Like even the elevator guy turns and like looks at him. Like it's like, it's not like Llewyn. Yeah, Llewyn does dumb things and he like messes up, but it's not like he's like the worst person. But they make it seem like these characters think he's like the worst person, but he's really not. He's just an average dude that just messes up sometimes. He doesn't make a lot of money.
Like, maybe he believes that he's the worst person, and that's why there's like everybody looks at him that way.
Yeah, he has that like down out of luck thing. Like nothing ever happens for me good. So if you keep portraying that to people, they're gonna think that about you.
How you doing? Nice to meet you. What's your instrument? Well, anything with a keyboard.
Again, just casting for faces. This guy just brings it so much just by the way that he looks. Like I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should have brought something. Hey, don't be silly. You brought the cat. You know what?
It's basically kind of just like, this is a Meet the Parents reference. This isn't the cat. You spray painted the cat's tail to make him look like Jinxie, didn't you, fucker?
Well, it is going to be coming up. the iconic "Where's his straw, Louis?"
Yeah.
Deadpan miscommunication at all times. Does she play early music?
But it's like also the luck of like, oh, he finds another stray cat that looks exactly like him, and of course it isn't, because that's not Llewyn's luck. Like,
Al Cody is Llewyn. The one cat
yeah.
looks like the other cat. We have to grab
Mhm.
all the twins, all the mirroring. I love this one actor who's playing Marty Greenbaum here. He's in Girls or so.
Mhm. Is he
Howie,
in a serious? Is he in a Serious Man too? I think he's in. I feel like he's in a
I think
Serious
he
Man.
is. Yeah.
Hyphenated. Hyphenated. I just love the cutback.
You're kidding me.
You're kidding me, right? You're kidding me, right?
I'm getting my silver tongue. You get to play it if and only if you sing. Right, yeah, okay. I can tell this is one of those things where I keep saying no and you think I'm just asking you to beg more. Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, look, I'm not a trained guru.
I love the camera setup on him, like here too, because he's like he feels so uncomfortable, and the camera, like the angle of it's like awkward,
Right.
because it makes you feel uncomfortable. Like you don't want to do it either. Like he's like, no, I'm good. It's like it's kind of like off centered. Like it just feels a little like he doesn't want to do it. So the audience is gonna start to feel uncomfortable here.
He is off center, and the one guy is like kind of weirdly split in that two shot, like the random guy in the background.
Yeah, so it's like an awkward angle. It's like they're asking. It's an awkward thing to ask. Like sing in front of us all now at the table. Like,
but admittedly, there is part of him that's like, I am gonna do this or so.
Yeah.
And then like it almost feels like he does protest too much, where he's like, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do it, and then I'll.
Yeah. What are you doing? But yeah, like don't like the way he delivers. Don't do that. Like because clearly he's still
same thing.
Like don't do that. Like he got angry, and it's like about obviously her son. Like don't do that. Like essentially, like it's bringing back the memories of that. Like I can't do this. Like yeah.
How perfectly his head just
Yeah.
drops, goes straight to the ground. Oh man. Whatever your pre-Columbian shit is.
Yeah.
She's gonna go comfort herself with the cat, but it's not really gonna work.
She doesn't have to leave. I'm leaving, obviously.
Just leave. I'm leaving. Obviously. But I also like the lines, like when he's like, he really says like "fuck Mike's part," like because I think people always saw Mike as the better musician in the group. Right. So like in their minds, it's like, why did he have to die? And like, why wasn't it you? Essentially, like, why couldn't the good musician stay alive? And he probably thinks that too. Where's it scroll?
Where is it?
Cut to black. I love the cut to black too.
Which gives us that perfect transition into. I think we're gonna go into the we're going into the road trip now with
the cat.
With the cat and John Goodman and maybe Garrett Hedlund's. I love Garrett Hedlund here.
He says he has like 2 lines of dialogue in this movie. He doesn't say anything. He just stands there.
I sort of wish he was in more stuff though. I don't see him around as much, but he has a lot of presence whenever directors let him have that presence, and he's so wonderful here.
Give him that Tron legacy.
I do always think about casting for Sad Eyes. It always makes me think of John Goodman and Barton Fink, where Goodman is so menacing in Barton Fink, but if you look at his eyes, sad eyes. So there's something there. There's something hiding behind it. I think that's always like where you get so much quality out of your actors, so much depth out of your actors, where you find that contradiction of oh, you're like standoffish and menacing, but you're always just a little bit too sad to really like feel like that's the main deal.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
love Goodman's cane.
basically we're just like dress Garrett Hedlund like he's just James Dean, but he doesn't say anything. He's just standing there. Oh, he pokes him.
It's my guitar.
Make yourself. This is like the 8th movie they did at this point.
Mm-hmm. Just keeps poking him. Oh dear.
I am Rowan. This is my ballad,
Jonathan. He gets right back to sleep.
I mean, again, back to like kind of how like symbols and motifs build on each other, like how characters reflect each other is so important to their work, really. Where like this guy is kind of the end of the line for what Llewyn would maybe turn into if he's like, continues to be as petulant and awful as he certainly is. And he's encountering kind of that older version of himself.
Mm-hmm.
I became indisposed after eating a toast of cheese. I myself purging from everyone.
I love how the Coens also use like storytelling. They use those thematic stories where, you know, how characters will go on and tell the story of their lives or try to show themselves through these stories. And so it's just a wonderful indirect. Oh, holy Jesus! Always makes me laugh. It always tells
Is that
you
part
so
of your
much
act?
about who they are.
Yeah, is that part of your act?
What do you play a C major and he talks with a hairball? Or... Oh.
It's not my cat. I just didn't know what to do with it. Really? So, bring your dick along. You turn favorite gas, Llewyn.
Because the part coming up, when he like leaves the cat is his like true downfall.
Oh yeah. Well, he leaves himself somewhere in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
He gives up on himself, right? At least a little bit, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, sound design. That creaky sign is the best thing in the movie. No, it's still.
This is the American dream, cross country, to hopefully get a record deal.
I'm just struck by keep being struck by again, just down to the sound design. The way the car is like creaking the same way too, and how funny that is in of itself.
Mm-hmm.
So great.
I love this part when he tries to like get them all to sing. Everybody he starts singing. This is where you would have like your montage.
It does help that like Oscar Isaac is clearly like a great musician.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I was like, yeah, he should release some. He should release like an actual folk album.
Well, isn't there like that one clip of him in a ska band that was like going around the internet every once in a while?
Well, this whole part here is perfect of his music. Like this guy's asleep and he's playing, like nobody gives a shit. Like
the way that his head is like bobbing to the music still.
Yeah, it's like he's playing that too, and you have the shot of them driving, like he's playing for nobody, because nobody cares. Okay, it's basically like this is his older self in his mind now. talking to
Right,
him.
right. How out of focus John Goodman is in the back seat there. It's just like I'm just trying to cut you out, man.
Well, in jazz, we play all the notes, 12 notes and scales, shit. Not 3 chords on a ukulele.
It's almost like he's scratching the voice in the back of his head whenever he reaches back there. It's like, oh, go away.
Because this is like you said, like this is him as he's older, but it's also like what everybody's really saying to him. But he's very, very, very direct about it. Like he knows deep down inside this is like exactly what. Like he's never gonna make it. Like playing those 3 chords, G, 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 like he knows that doesn't sell, dude. Like no one cares. No one gives a shit.
George Washington Bridge. You throw yourself off the Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Man, I remember whenever the trailers were around, I would just hear that phrase, the George Washington Bridge. You throw yourself off the Brooklyn Bridge so much.
Yeah.
Which this film does have just a great trailer, like just a perfectly cut trailer. But just
it's like the idea. It's like, oh, you throw yourself off the Brooklyn Bridge. That's the more famous one. You want to be famous, right? Like you don't throw yourself off that small one. Like that's the epitome of this movie, essentially. Like
everybody's trying to mythologize themselves or like create some sort of mythos around themselves, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, this guy certainly is trying to mythologize himself. He studied Santeria and all the black arts or whatever.
Or maybe it won't even be that specific. Maybe it's why is nothing going right for me? My life
is a big bowl of shit.
And you have him deliver that line while looking at Llewyn, like you said, the voice inside of his head. Yeah.
I mean, and admittedly, it is. Unfortunately, his life is sort of a big bowl.
Yeah. Again, it's not just Llewyn. I think a lot of people said like this movie's too depressing because it's realistic. Like not everybody's dream works. Like when they always say chase your dreams, it works. 95% of the time, it doesn't work. You shouldn't stop chasing your dream. But Llewyn is an example of the average person trying to achieve his dream.
Well, something I'm so interested in with Llewyn is how stagnant he really is. Like he holds very fast to like his routines and his ideas in a way that is just not helping him at all. And it's kind of like if he could just figure out some way to kind of sort of be happy with the work that he's doing and like not be so stagnant. You'll see it later with the F and Ray Abraham, and he's like, if you could play in a group, we would make it work. And he's like, no. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I definitely know people that kind of stay that way where it's like, I can't adapt. I have to do things this specific way. And it's just like, man, you're not going to go anywhere if you do it.
It's kind of like you almost have to play ball with us, and eventually you'll get there.
I love that cat's eye line on Garrett Hedlund. It like almost matches up with him whenever he's like looking and he looks away and the cat looks away.
They probably had like something hanging from a string to like get the cat to like look over.
I do love the design of like cafeterias on the road like that. And like the Midwest in between like in Kansas and Indiana or something like that, there's like a McDonald's that like goes across the highway. And I remember going there as a kid and it looks like that inside of it where you have like this just big floor plan.
Yeah. And there's always nobody in there either. You're like always like, yeah.
We built this like beautiful monument above the highway that is like going to span across the highway, and it doesn't. What does it do? What does it really do? It just
Llewyn,
reminds me of that line on the flying cars and shit, or so, where it's like the future is all these like futuristic spaces.
mm-hmm.
So it also looks like the spaceship in 2001 with the red chairs.
Oh yeah. Llewyn, if this isn't a sign that's about to happen to your give up. I mean, essentially twice in this thing. He double kills his career.
Mm-hmm. Hey, at least Llewyn isn't doing drugs like this.
Yeah. It's like it's in a sign that dude you just came on just fucking dies right here.
Just
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Exactly.
Good
What are you
question.
doing? After he reads that, then he dies. Like
No, Goodman's not dead yet.
spoiler.
He's close, but oh, buddy. I love that dolly shot from Garrett Hedlund's POV that's like moving towards John Goodman.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like approaching like a murder scene.
Oh yeah. Grab his sticks. Don't worry about it.
Happens all the time. And of course it's raining outside. Bad things are happening for you, Llewyn. Oof. There's a shot. There's your Night on Earth shot.
Mm-hmm. How apocalyptic those red lights and with through the windshield look. That also looks like kind of it looks like blood symbol actually.
Yeah.
Where the guy's like crawling on the ground and the lights are kind of illuminating it, the red lights or so. I like how like their visual iconography is always hiding some sort of sinister thing behind it too. Often
Mm-hmm.
they'll use like noir techniques just to like shoot some random simple scene to like infuse it with. Look how scary this is a little bit. Which of course like reaches its main like apex in like Tragedy of Macbeth, which is just all chiaroscuro noir techniques right now.
Yeah.
But even this, it's like so much darkness around them, and just we're gonna just put a light in the guy's face, like the spotlights or so.
Yeah, it's basically like a noir.
Oh.
And the tone completely shifts like once he finds him like laying on the bathroom floor.
Mm-hmm.
Like now it's kind of turned into like even like after when you had that shot where it faded, like you pull the focus out, fades to black. This cop's so aggressive. You're like, at this point, you're probably like, what's like, is this like gonna be like a murder? Like, what's going on here?
Right. It does remind me a lot of like how there's that great short at the end of Buster Scruggs where it starts off in like really sunny or so like orange tones, and then by the end of it everything has shifted into like the dark blue tones and everything, and they're so good at like letting the cinematography and letting the general lighting style really shift and inform what's going on. Oh, he's just still in the backseat. Oh, no.
Yeah, just like shit. This guy's like half dead back here. Like, don't have the keys. What the fuck am I gonna do? This is the moment.
This is the moment. You give up. You give yourself up, Llewyn. You left yourself somewhere in Kansas, somewhere in Middle Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
That is an intense backlight right there.
This to me is the whole movie right here.
Oh, buddy.
A shot of the cat. Because Llewyn is the cat.
Shut the door on yourself.
Yep. And then spoiler, people listening, he hits the cat on the way home.
Or does he? Because it feels like he almost hallucinates
or is the cat even real? Because they kind of like this, they like even like with the fog there, this whole thing kind of feels like a dream sequence. Like this whole like road trip feels like a dream sequence almost. Like it doesn't even
Right.
feel real.
Which I mean is definitely in tandem with stuff that they do. You know,
Yeah.
you
Like
have like
yeah.
Barton Fink and how that uses like the
Mhm.
surrealism or so. And
Yeah.
but I mean it does kind of evoke exactly what it's like whenever you're in like you've been up for like 24 hours and you're trying to get somewhere or trying to do something and it's just not going right. It's
Mhm.
just it gets hazy. It gets like oh, I love all of these dissolves in the sequence. You're bringing those
Mhm.
up. How
Yeah,
it
it
really
feels
just
very
brings
like
you
dreamy. Yeah.
into his dreamy mindset.
Yeah.
Uh, the detail of the shoes just leaking water on
Yeah.
them. His feet must be freezing. Uh,
Those are like the only clothes he has. I'd be like, can I pour this coffee pot on my fucking foot real quick? Oh, look at this old relic, a phone book.
Beautiful thing right there.
It's kind of wild to like think about, like the idea of a phone book. Like your like address was just there, like in your phone number.
Mm-hmm.
Like people could just randomly call you. Like now, it's like you don't give your phone number to anybody unless you know the person. Like, and I like how they don't like use any like music throughout this whole part. It's very just dull, like
Mm-hmm.
dull in a way of like it just feels like it's so empty, and that's like the whole point.
It's
Like I
all
love this
just
shot
that
too. Like it
that
looks like he's
sad
freezing.
diegesis.
Yeah, the
Well,
gate
and I
before
mean,
it's almost like the gate of heaven. Essentially, is like this is the gate. This is your one shot, Llewyn. This is your gate to stardom.
all that I love that shot of him walking past the wall where you get the mirror of him, just the same
Hmm.
doubles and everything going on with their work. But
Oof, that
I mean,
light.
there
Ugh,
there is that
I love it.
idea of like how if music is Llewyn's life, if you drain it all of music, then it's like,
He has no life.
well, there's no life.
You're draining his soul.
Something about those Bruno Demonel soft boxes do tend to like just blow out those little those like
Hmm.
streaks. So it's just it is beautiful.
This light's like so strong too.
Uh-huh.
It's like a Spielberg
Yeah.
backlight times like 10.
What was it? The what Dan Louston showing up to the one THR like Hollywood Roundtable and he's like, "Hey Janusz, how's your backlight
Yeah,
going?"
how's the
Shut
backlight?
up.
Yeah, he started chirping him. He was like chirping him, how's the backlight? He's like, I don't know, I got 2 Oscars. How is the backlight?
Those movies look great. Shut up.
Yes, that's the signature. That's how you know it's Spielberg. This is the only time you see the title of the movie on the album cover. It's never at the beginning or the end. It's only on this album cover.
I love that there's just like a random guy sitting at the desk in front of them who just doesn't even
Mhm.
acknowledge him whatsoever. It's like,
Yeah.
ah.
Wish I could like buy this like fake album cover.
The way Abraham just doesn't react to it
Doesn't
whatsoever.
he doesn't even grab it. He doesn't even like grab it. Yeah. Because
I'm
it
not
was just
accepting that.
also not even opened. Like, like it's like the equivalent of giving them like a here's my SoundCloud link. Like,
Right. He does take pity on him though. You get any
mhm.
money out of Mel? Yeah, I know
Yeah.
you are.
It's probably just because it's just like he knows Mel, so it's like a a respectful thing. I'll do it for him, but I'll listen to one song. Yeah, it's the only time you see the title of the movie. I
That
love
kind
the
of,
way they shoot this too. I love the way they shoot this
I
as it
love
starts
that
off.
button of like that anger of that, not here, you
Yeah, not here.
idiot.
Yeah, here, not here. Like,
I don't know. It's like I do think there's like an element of the film where it's really saying that even if you are like a good artist that has like something in you or so, the forces of the world around you, it doesn't really matter.
mm-hmm.
Like, and I mean, the Coens are always like, even if you're a good person or try to be a good person, there is some force around you that will come get you at one point. Um, and I think the scene does sort of demonstrate that Llewyn's is a good artist. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is beautiful. Like,
But I love
or
what
that
they do
dolly
is like,
shot.
yeah, the push in. So it's like it's almost like because they just keep getting closer, and it's almost like they're giving him hope. Like, oh, maybe he will get like a deal here. Like, and then just the line delivery after is just such good writing. Like, because he like this is it. Like you listen to that, you're like, damn, that was like if you were in like a bar or something, and like this guy just started playing, you'd be like, damn, that was good. Who's this guy? But yeah, like he's just slowly pushing in the dolly in. Like it's almost like you're, oh look, it's and like it has like the reverse shot back, and it's like, oh, maybe he is interested. But F. Murray Abraham like literally doesn't move a muscle. He just sits there. It's almost like it's just like a photo. Like he looks like a photo.
Right, right. It looks like they froze the frame or whatever.
Yeah.
I
I
will
think it's the
say
cut
it.
back here. Like it's always
Oh
like
yeah,
because
he
how
can't.
the dolly came in, the dolly as this dolly comes in, it's like, and then he looked at him, like he looked up at him, and then it cut back to him.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
it's
he's
almost
just
it's like maybe there
still.
is some hope. Maybe there is some hope here. Like you're trying to tricking the audience to be like, maybe he'll be like, maybe you do have something. But like the line delivery just after is just like, oh, because
That's a good idea.
it's like any pitch in Hollywood, man. I don't see
Mm-hmm.
a lot of money here. Like, oh,
Yeah,
what a great like that's probably the best line in this movie. I don't see a lot
I
of money
agree.
here.
Well, I mean, it is so much about the force that is like kind of an invisible force, like the grief that's weighing on Llewyn is like, I mean, I do think the Coens, at least from a financial standpoint, they are like quite political, and how they talk about
Hmm.
capitalism, um, how like communism or like Red Scare stuff often like sneaks its way, not even really sneaks its way if you watch Hail Caesar or something, but how that idea of like the world around these people doesn't take care of them or so.
Hmm.
Uh, and how Llewyn would have value if there was money there. I don't see a lot
Yeah,
of money.
I don't see a lot of money here.
Like,
And that's
what?
it. Your dream is crushed.
Oh
Like
man.
that's so many people like essentially like even actors like going on auditions or like directors pitching
Mm-hmm.
movies, writers pitching movies. Like you just studio head will just stare at you and like, yeah, I don't see a
They
lot of
sure
money
will,
here.
won't they?
And who's to say that script or that actor or that director that doesn't win an Oscar before that specific project?
I love that
He's
this
basically
beat.
pitching him. He's basically pitching him Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Right,
Like,
right, exactly.
essentially,
I love that beat where he's
like
like,
get a guy
I
and
have
girl.
a way in for you though.
Yeah,
You're
like
not my
he basically says
ceiling.
like he's like you're good, like not great, like you need somebody, and that's what he had. That's the thing.
My suggestion.
Yeah, get back
Oh
together.
boy.
That's
And
good
there's the
advice.
payoff to the if
Yeah,
we had wings. We're both angels now.
but like he went all that way for that essentially audition,
And then the
and
clear like devastation of walking through
yeah,
the snow
like
again.
you
And
should get back like him just basically saying like you're not good enough. You should get back with your old partner, being like, yeah, I already knew that. Basically, I've had my answer all along.
But it's also like he would maybe be successful if he decided to join the trio. Like he could have gotten something
Yeah.
out of that or so, but he's just so rigid in how he looks at his art and the world that he's unwilling to like.
Unwilling to share like that. Yeah.
The sadness in the fact that he's doing that because he misses his friend. But this whole bit with Akron, which is just him doing the same thing he did with Bud Grossman, where it's like, I'm not going to join the trio. I'm not going to go find my baby in Akron, which is an open option, man. You know, just passes by. I mean, there is something like super intuitive about like, oh, I have a choice to make. Here's the exit to that choice. Just
and
like
the first song you hear after on the radio is like a group, which is funny. Uh-oh.
He's about
to really kill his soul now. Yeah, I was like to my friend, I was like, you didn't really understand? Like, do you remember when he hit the cat and he left it in the car and then he hit it? He's like, no, I don't get it. All right. All right.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, I think it just feels so real where it's like if you're an artist and you're like having to like go up against these obstacles where it's like there's no security whatsoever.
Yeah.
There's often times where it's like you can get stuck in that rut of like I've given up on myself in some way, but you know, you usually
it's like
pull yourself out of it.
Yeah, and it's like he doesn't kill the cat here. Like it's like you don't know if the cat dies, but you see it like limp away.
Right.
But it's really resembles him.
Like
It's like him. He still gets up and he's still trying to do
away.
everything. He's gonna limp away. He's gonna limp right back home, limp right back up on that stage. That his friend's little thing. And he's gonna do it all over again.
They're gonna pass the hat around.
Yeah, it's like the cat is most likely like, the cat will eventually probably because getting hit by a car. Probably most likely going to die. And then you see like the red come in the snow. Oh, it's like it's going to limp away, essentially, eventually dying off. And it's like, that's Llewyn. Eventually, he's just going to limp around, small gig there, and eventually he'll die.
Yeah.
Very, very depressing. But if whoever's listening to this, very depressing movie, but very realistic movie. But I know people like they'll watch this movie and be like, "Man, that was depressing." Like, go to the movies to be happy.
Well, I mean, it is kind of interesting. Like, it is very depressing, but like then clearly, like everything that's going on with like how Carey Mulligan reads her lines or how John Goodman reads his lines is just so ruthlessly funny, and like everything about it is still ruthlessly funny. Here's a funny piece of information. The kid in this next scene is the lead in my favorite movie of last year, which is Asteroid City. I loved Asteroid City, but his nephew is Woodrow in Asteroid City. Oh, it's not going to happen yet, but I thought it was going to happen because I saw the "Welcome Back, Uncle Llewyn" thing or so.
I didn't realize that. I actually think I remember someone saying that on like Twitter or something, but I forgot.
Oh,
I love that reaction. That reaction. I'm a communist.
And then the guy like gives him a Russian word, and he's like, "What are you talking about? Nothing to worry about."
Yeah, because the guy's like, "Oh, okay, never mind." There's your Coen humor. Is that good?
But also, I mean, there's your kind of like the battle of capitalism as a system that doesn't take care of people versus collective action or whatever thing. Like in all of their movies.
Yeah, Llewyn will go anywhere as long as he gets paid. Like he doesn't give two shits. Communism, I'm sure, as long as it gets me paid.
Well, and the bureaucracy of like how much they're gonna take the money and he can't do anything about it or so. I mean, admittedly, there is something like deeply familiar about like oh, I have money now, and then something just happens, and it's like, well, I guess I have no more money. It always happens like that.
Why not? Why not?
He goes and visits his father. Admittedly, this is about as like the Coen brothers. Their movies are never subtle terribly. It's pretty on the nose, and this is the most on the nose thing that happens in the movie.
Well, it's like he was just staring, waiting for him to show up. Just
this guy is just like Bud Grossman too. He never moves as well.
Yeah, just doesn't move. Although he says like shipping out, like he's like a military man, but like he's not. I'm sure that's what his dad wanted him to be. Join the military, dude.
He like tries to reach out to his father, give him something that a value that he has. It really can't be understated how beautiful the music often does get.
Oh yeah, this is great. I listen to this vinyl all the time. I mean, I think I really love like folk music from like the '60s. That old Bob Dylan, Dave Von Ronk. That dude's the guy who's like, Coen say he's not really based off it. They kind of just took the album cover. That like folk singer, his voice is like so deep. It's like raspy too.
Yeah, just looks away from him.
Looks away.
But there is like almost something about like almost like
it could be like
the sea or
like you could look at it that way, like he's turning away, but he's also like he does kind of like this song. That's why he's like longing for like maybe his wife that passed or something, or thinking of an old memory. Because he said he used to like this one. Because it's probably never really said, because he probably has like maybe like Alzheimer's or something. Because he does close his eyes too, so he definitely is remembering. And he had like the close up,
right?
So he does connect him in a way, even though the dad doesn't say a word.
What does he say at the beginning? If it's never gets old, then it's always true. It's folk song or something like that. Or...
Yeah, Oscar Isaac should, if I ever become friends with him, which probably will never will, but we have the same birthday. I'd be like, dude, you should make albums. Because I would listen to them. Very good close up. Very good acting by that guy.
Where it happens. I think so. The button to the scene.
Yeah. You're like, what? Oh no.
Wow. The old man kind of spikes the camera there. He looks directly into my
yeah.
Excuse me?
But it's like a perfect example of his like career. Like his dad, it's like implying that his I see it now, the kid. It's like his dad, like you would think, oh, maybe he's thinking of a memory, and then like, oh wait, maybe he was just going to the bathroom, and like that's how he sees this entire Llewyn's entire like career. Your career shit. Like it's a little on the nose.
That's what I was kind of saying at the beginning. We're like, it's kind of the least subtle bit in the movie.
now I gotta go back to the fucking Union Hall and have my master's basic pilot's license. Jesus Christ, Joy!
You told me to put it out by the car. That's what I did. I want you to leave. Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm a dick, right?
Yeah.
Your uncle's a Batman.
Yeah. Okay. Your uncle's a Batman. Okay.
That is also something I, for some reason, quote to people way too much. Your uncle's a Batman. Okay.
Okay.
Man, there's still part of her.
Yeah, you're
part of
right. You're
June
right. Because like she always lets him in.
Always lets
Because
the
she could
cat back
easily.
in.
It's like she hates herself. How much she likes him. That's what it is, really. So
Or
she'll
maybe
take her
there's just, like,
anger out on him, even though it's like she'll still let him always let him up.
I think maybe it's just there's genuine love there. You know,
Mhm.
like
It's
she
like a
just
love-hate, essentially.
unconditionally loves
She
him.
hates that she loves him, but loves him.
She will criticize him to the point of like, it happens on Saturday. It didn't happen yet. That's funny.
Oh yeah, I mean, on Saturday he's like, oh yeah, because he probably made that trip to like, I guess it was Chicago, I think,
Mhm.
in probably like a day or two, because he was only there for like, he did the audition for 5 minutes and he got right back into another car to drive home. Like, here it comes. I'm so fucking tired. Took me at work. I'm so fucking tired. I don't think it's sleep. I think it's more than that. But that's it. That's like the perfect way to describe like life in general. Like, so fucking
I
tired.
agree.
It's not just sleep. Yeah. Yeah. It's more than that.
Mhm.
Very real line, but it's more than that. He was a big
I think
champion of
that's
this movie.
true. I think that's true. I think he does love her in some
Mhm.
way.
No, it's like, yeah, they do like love each other, but it's also like it's a fuck you, but I still love you. Like I'll still let you
Right.
up. If you're really like struggling, you're sleeping on the street, like yeah, I'll let you sleep on the couch. Like
Get the money back then.
yeah.
Just the
Um
bureaucracy. He doesn't know really.
yeah.
It's just this maze of stuff that he can't really get out of.
There's just some like great like big beards in this movie. Like that
Oh, I
guy's beard, the
agree.
one dude the one dude that was in the dinner scene, like he had a great beard.
Mhm. The repetition. You Hugh Davis's
Yeah.
kid again.
Yeah. You know, right? He's been asking about you.
Ask him. I love those sweaters so much.
This is talent. This harmonizing. This is an old. I guess this is like an old Irish song.
Your triangle.
You
I
know,
think they were talking.
a big champion of this movie is Rachel Zegler. She's like, this is like one of her favorite movies. She always talks about it. And I think Letterboxd did like their what are your top four, like when she's on the red carpet and she threw Llewyn Davis in there. She's like, Llewyn Davis, obviously.
It's in my top four, actually. It's number 4, but it is in my top 4. I think something that the Coens said is that you don't really need to try to make folk music funny. It's already funny.
Yeah.
It's like people all dressed up like that and looking kind of like that is just already hysterical.
Yeah. Like, look at these guys. I like the sweaters. Like,
You wouldn't fucking believe the rent here.
Yeah. And you have them looking opposite direction. You don't believe the fucking rent here. I can't even pay rent.
Oh no.
And some of these guys, they come in here because
When I fuck Jim. Again, it's just like the musicality of the dialogue is so interesting and so precise. Oh, this is so rough. Right here.
Yeah.
That's. You sort of want to believe.
And the small focus pull to him.
You sort of know that like love actually exists, or like some sort of like actual care exists in the movie because of how much Gene and Llewyn actually care for each other, or Jim and Gene care for each other. But it's all contrasting like how awful some of the people around them really are.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Because this is when he starts to be like, what's the fucking point anymore of this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the point. Like, her too? Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
He spits on the floor. Yeah.
The guy's like, "What are you doing?" That's when you know he's
that was like the
drunk. He's gone. Too far.
And that was the final straw of the when he's like, "Yeah, only fuck Gene." It's I fucking hate folk music.
Bullshit. Or make the grandma Moses.
Again, that one. Just speaking of like little production design things, like that wide shot, the trashiness, the trash on the New York street, where it's like,
come on in. Lillian's making her famous tabbouleh salad.
Yeah, he just goes back to he goes back to all the same places, bounces around.
And yet again, these gore finds, given his relationship with their son, they really must love him too.
Yeah.
They care. That's at least something that I do find comforting within all of the like depressing bullshit that happens in this movie. Well, one, it's extremely funny, and two, these people do have some way of forgiving and like dealing with him. Oh, and Please Mr. Kennedy being a hit. Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I heard the song, yeah.
One hit could fix you up. Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, if only he had just waited a week? He'd be swimming in the dough. He'd be getting weekly paychecks.
The cat came back.
Yep.
Somehow he found his way back. Isn't that encouraging?
Mm-hmm.
Ulysses. He always finds his way back. So.
Yeah.
Again, not subtle, but neither is like open or dour.
Mm-hmm.
But it works so perfectly. Little Ulysses came on back. Oh. And he finally gets a night's sleep. The cat's up on his chest again. I love those twinkles of the cat so much. Mainly in that I just love the cat. Man, I love Ulysses. Look at that little boy. Just making his way down the hallway.
That's how he started.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. with the whole like circular structure of a lot of their movies. Like, yeah, that's the point, man. It all just comes back around to being the same thing.
And he just goes and does the same thing.
I love this, The Incredible Journey.
Yeah. Later remade to The Homeward Bound.
I love that movie. I used to watch that so much.
And you're like, wait, this is the first scene. Wait a minute, I've seen this scene already.
Well, what's funny is that like they never make it completely clear whether or not they're like showing you something new or showing you something that just happened again. Because he just continues to do the same thing. It's
just cycle, yeah.
It sort of like displaces you in time as well in such a significant way that feels like it does whenever you are sort of existing like Llewyn is, whenever you just get displaced in time. It never gets old and it's always true. It's folk song. There it is.
Stripped down version.
But it also just does feel like him, at least every single time he performs it or listens to it, it's like him reckoning it with that thing that he carries around a little bit. And
because this is an actual song. It's called Dink's Song. But there's been many interpretations of the song. It's like, again, it's an old folk song. Because I'm sure they'd probably be like, why didn't you submit the song in the beginning? Essentially, why didn't you submit that to the Oscars? It's like, well, technically it's not. It's a reimagining of the actual song. Because Bob Dylan has a version. Like he recorded in a hotel room in like 1960.
Speaking of Bob Dylan, the shadow of Bob Dylan's about to show up. And
he's coming up.
And
that's the future.
That's the future. And it's not, and Llewyn's not part of it.
Reimagines music in general.
It really is like mostly sick jokes, but they are funny.
Yeah, it's like, why isn't Llewyn Bob? You know?
Does Llewyn ever perform something that's like his own song in the movie? Or is it all just
no? I guess it's
reciting?
Yeah, he's singing other songs.
I guess maybe there's a part of
this is probably this is probably the first time he's fully played this song by himself since. So like it's him finally being like, okay, I did it once by myself. Because remember, he tried to do it at the dinner, and then she started to harmonize with him. And he's like, "What are you doing?" Like, he stopped. Like, don't do that. Like,
he'll listen to it, but he won't sing it until the end. I like that spotlight behind him. How that just cuts through everything. Beautiful. The color of this manager's shirt always bugs me for some reason. And like, it doesn't feel like it has the vibrancy for the room, or like the vibrancy for the frame that it's in. Or still like the color timing.
Yeah. There he is.
There we go. There's the future, boys. And Llewyn's walking out as it comes.
That's actual. They actually put the this is actual Bob Dylan there. Like that's the actual song.
Oh right, yeah. And,
unreleased song.
Good luck, Timmy, in copying that boy.
Yeah, I'm very curious because Bob Dylan's like my favorite artist of all time. So I'm very curious to see. I do like James Trustman because he did Walk the Line, so he can do a musical biopic.
Right.
I guess the last line of the movie is also a little on the nose of Llewyn's music career.
Oh, hey, I mean, yeah.
Adios.
If you can pull off on the nose, you're good.
Yeah. No, we need a YouTube. Inside Llewyn Davis ending explained.
Ending explained. Whoa, it's the same thing? What's going on?
As he leaves and you see the shot of Dylan, it's like, okay, well, this is the future. And you just hear Dylan playing.
Time. We'll meet another day, another time.
I think he like recorded this in a hotel room or something. Like there's like 12 like volumes of like not 12, I think there's like 18 now of just Dylan like unreleased tracks.
Mm-hmm. I do love that line, but my darling, who's fated to stay behind herself, or bound to stay behind, which, yeah, he's gonna just end up in that alley the next weekend, get punched in the face.
Yeah. Basically like, bye. There's his career. And
Well, I want to love.
Oh, Coens.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful.
This podcast is hosted and edited by Pat Brennan. That's me, with intro and closing music by Patrick Baxter.